today we are doing the mid-year Freakout book tag. I had to say that right. So, it's like, I skipped it last year. I did not want to skip it this year. So, I decided, I saw everybody coming out with theirs. It's a little late. I don't know if it's really late or not, but everybody's coming out with theirs, so I might as well get it out now. So, let us begin with question number 1. I have my paper, so if I'm looking down, I'm going, what? Okay. I have 2 books for this one. The best book you've read so far in 2022. I've read a lot of good books. These 2 are at the top right now. I mean, there's more, but these 2 I think weren't surprises, but it's just, I really, really enjoyed them. The first one is Malice by Gwynne. Loved it. I'm looking forward to continuing in the series, his first series, and beautiful, epic, fantasy. I guess you could consider it historical fiction because it's set in medieval, Scotland, Ireland, England even, all that area. I would think mainly it sounds Scottish and Irish, but that's what it means to me. I didn't want to stop reading. I would, when my body wants to give out, it wants to give out for sleep. And I would get mad. I could read maybe 10 pages worth and fall asleep. And I'd get mad because I'm like, this is really good. This is a really interesting story. I've got all these characters I'm loving all these different characters that I get to read. And then I get mad because I'm like, oh, I want to hurry up because I want to get back to this person. Oh, I want to really know what happens with this character. I'm like, ooh. So I'm glad I did get a peek at the second book where I don't think it did in the first, but in the second one it gives you all the cast of characters. Now, mind you, you're not going to read from all of them, but it gives you probably the main and who's mentioned. And I actually love that he gave a female character a voice, too. That was awesome. So, the second book is No Exit by Taylor Adams. This book, lots of twists and turns. He gives you breadcrumbs. He gives you one intentional, oh, well, that was obvious, but he intentionally did that so you wouldn't see anything else that was coming, unless you're like me where I've read a lot of thrillers or mysteries or whatever, and some of it I go, if I was a writer, this is definitely what I would do. Now, some of them, I kind of I bet you any money this is this. But some of the stuff, I just oh my god, what's going to happen next? I didn't see this coming. Are you for sure? Are you for real? Is this really happening? Is this the real world here while I'm reading this book? Because I'm just what is going on? It was almost like an Alfred Hitchcock. It's almost like Psycho, his movie Psycho. And just that ending you never saw coming. It's what? So just this book, I'm just what? What? No. For real? Blew me away. It's up there. When something can truly, blow me away, even if I can guess certain things, it would not end. It just kept going and going and going and going and going. It's like doing loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop-de-loop on a roller coaster. How many loops does this thing have? Infinity. So I saved this book for this question because it would have been with number 1. Is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022. That would be Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. I am loving this. If you have not read Black Sun, please do. But you're going to be in for a wait for the 3rd book. I think it's the final book. I don't know. But I believe it's a trilogy. Yeah, if you want to wait for the 3rd book, it doesn't come out till probably 2024. But in the meantime, if you really want to read the first 2, oh my god, I highly suggest it. I mean, the continuation, more secrets coming out, more backstory to these characters, especially the main characters, and then we get a side character that kind of becomes a main character in this second book. I'm not going to say who. And I'm really in love with this. I'm really loving where this story is going to go. And I'm like, oh my god, I really, really want this third book now. Can we have it next year, please, Rebecca? Please. I've already begged before in another video, but I just adore it. So it's up there too, because I don't think I've read a whole lot of sequels, or I've read, like, I know I read the fourth book in Martha Wells series. It was good for sure, but it's up there. It does not compare to this one. So number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. That would be Elektra by Jennifer Saint. I am loving all the Greek retellings. So she is. I read Ariadne, really good. I loved it. So I'm looking forward to picking up Elektra. There are a lot of other books that have probably been released that I, want to read, but that one is definitely up there because I'm one of those. I loved reading about the Greek mythology. I was very interested as a young child. Okay, young child. I did not know the reality of these Greek gods, like the relationships, I should say, like what was Hera to, Zeus. And I'm like, as I got older, I'm like, okay, no. Whatever. Now I'm just like, okay, whatever you want to do. This is why you had 1,000,001 half babies. Or demigods, or whatever you want to call them, like Hercules and Jason and the Argonauts and Perseus. I'm just like, I'm over it. But I love the retellings, and I love how Jennifer made it a point in Ariadne, like how misogynistic these myths were, because it always seemed that the women got punished even when it wasn't their fault. So I really like that. So I'm looking forward to reading Elektra, and this time you get 3 women, and yes, you finally get Cassandra. I'm like, finally someone's gonna tell her poor story of this poor little oracle. I mean, she could see and nobody would believe her. I hate that, because in the real world, that's what happens today. I hate that. Yeah, there are frauds, but there are people that really have the gift. Just saying. I hate that. So number 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. My goodness gracious. My top book. Because I have a lot. I even wrote them down, but I'm like, I'm not going to even say all of these. Because my top book. Been waiting forever. When I heard it, I think it was somewhere in late 2021, I heard of its release. It was supposed to be released, I think, mid-April or late April. Got pushed to early May, close to my birthday. I was excited. It was going to be the week of my birthday. Then it got pushed back till the end of May. Then it got pushed back even further. You want to know what book that is? Amari and the Great Game. Comes out August 30th. You better believe I'm buying that book the minute it's on sale that day. It's mine. Hardcover and all. I'm taking it. Because I really loved Amari and the Night Brothers. That was my number 1 book of 2021. I adored it. I adored how Amari strived to show people that just because she has a certain ability doesn't mean that she's a bad person. And how, to change other people's minds about who she is. And I think she wants to be like her brother, but be her own person as well. And she was also trying to find her brother too. So, and she had to work with people that didn't like her. She made a friend who is so cute. I love her friend, her best friend. Love her. So cute, because I feel like half of me is Amari and half of me is her best friend. Because of the bullying that Amari has experienced. I understand the bullying. That I definitely can relate to. And being the underdog, I can relate to that a whole lot. where people like to underestimate me. You don't know who I am. You don't know my story. You don't know where I've been. And I love when people underestimate me because I like to show them up. When you underestimate me, I will show you up. And I will keep doing it. I'm very confident in that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking for more adventures with Amari. Knowing more about the school and the careers that most of these kids are trying to go into. I love it. It's so interesting. I'm so excited. Can't wait for that book. I want it now. My biggest disappointment. Well, that was The Birds and Other Stories by Daphne DuMaurier. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Rebecca. And there are more books I need to read by Miss Daphne. Now, The Birds, the story itself, did not disappoint. I do remember reading part of it. I don't think all of it. In middle school or high school. I believe high school. And I don't think it had the whole thing. It may have, or it may have part of it. And then we watched The Birds. I had already seen that movie. Trust me, I'd already seen that movie before English. Whatever, in high school. So, I wanted to read the other stories. So, I was a little disappointed in some of them were pretty good. Some of them were like, the one story just dragged on. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Am I done yet? This story stinks. Sorry, Daphne. There were a few that I liked and a lot more I didn't like. But I know, again, classics. Sometimes classics don't agree with me. I think maybe point of views or something. I couldn't tell you. It took me forever to read a short story book, but then I'm finding it that maybe I don't like short stories like I should. You know, I had this problem with Joyce Carol Oates before with one of her books, and very disappointing. So, I'm not sure. But of course I'm not going to give up on Daphne. There's more books I need to read, and maybe it's just her short stories I can't. It's just like, I think with some people, like, maybe even, like, with Stephen King, it's like, you're going to like some stories, and then you're going to not like others of his short stories. And it's hard, because it's just like, they write these short stories, and then they put them in all in one book, and then most of them you like, most of them, you know. I think it was almost the same thing with, Joe Hill and Black Phone and other stories. But there was a lot that I liked in there. There was a couple in that book that I didn't care for. I mean, that one got a 4-star. And there was a lot of his stories I actually liked. And that's actually the first book I read by him. There's more books out there that, you know, I have. I don't have everything, but I have Heart-Shaped Box, Nosferatu, The Fireman. That looks really good, because I'm looking and I go, my H's are over there. Except the one book's in the closet, and I haven't reorganized the shelves. All these notebooks that I have, and some books I gotta put away. I gotta reorganize everything again, because I like it alphabetized by last name. And then if there's a series, the series goes first, and maybe some standalones. Well, I mix it up like that. So now, number 6 is Biggest Surprise, and I have 2. We're going to go with Straight On Till Morning. I believe that one was by Liz Braswell. Or was that Elizabeth Lim? Or Jen Kalanita. One of the 3. I was very surprised by this book. I did not know going into this book if I was going to like it. I don't like Peter Pan that much. I will say that. I really don't. But Peter Pan was pretty much absent from this entire book. He was in it, like, near the end. You get the story of Wendy. And you get the story of Tinkerbell. So, This is the only spoiler I'm giving. Only one. There becomes a relationship between Wendy and Tinkerbell to help Peter Pan. So this is mainly a journey first with Wendy and how she gets to Neverland and how she eventually helps Peter, possibly. But she needs help with the Lost Boys, Tinkerbell, everybody else in Neverland. Had to think about it. So we get more of Wendy and Tinkerbell, and we see how that relationship evolves. So I really liked the book. I actually liked it. I didn't care for Peter Pan. I really didn't. Just like Pinocchio. I didn't care for Pinocchio. Y'all gonna get mad at me. Y'all gonna come for me for that one, I know. But my Disney experiences, yes, I do love some of the old ones. But my favorite will always be Beauty and the Beast. Because Belle is just like the rest of us on BookTube. She adored books, and that bitch made out with an awesome ass library in the end. Come on now. You cannot say no, you wouldn't want a library like that. It'd be hard to clean, definitely not to maintain. Well, maybe if you gotta keep organizing it, but hey, all those books, and you didn't have to do, if you didn't have to work or anything, and all you could basically in your spare time was read, freak, yeah, I'd have that many books and that library. I want a library that looks like, I want my room to look like that. It'll never happen. Shelves upon shelves upon shelves, or bookcases upon bookcases. That'd be great. If I had my own place, I'd turn one room into the biggest library I could find. Bookcases upon bookcases upon bookcases. Well, they'd have to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves high. Any taller than that, and I will need a ladder. I'm short. I'm 5'3". But yes, that was a really good book. I was very surprised. I love these twisted tales. I can't wait to continue. The next one that is So This Is Love. That one is by Elizabeth Lim. I do know that because I can turn and look and go, oh yeah. So it's going to be interesting. That one, the So This Is Love, is Cinderella. The next surprising book was Pure Nessie by Susanna Clark. I didn't know what to expect. I'm going to say that. I did not know what to expect. I heard mixed reviews. Most people liked it. Some people didn't like it because they didn't understand it. So I went with it open-minded because I'm just like, okay, I don't know what to expect. And yeah, maybe it was a little technical for some people, the way this person kept their diary or journal. And yes, it is written in journal styling. And they don't really keep a year. They keep the year of the bird that came to this room or whatever, which I find endearing. I liked it because I'm like, who needs a year? Just the year of the bird. Year of the dragonfly. But it was very interesting, and I could really picture it in my head. Like, is there really a place? It was also weird because when I read Pure Nessie, I would have dreams. Like I was in there, and I would be, visiting or searching throughout the halls. It's really weird. Some books give me, those are the ones that are really good, and the ones that are really interesting is when I start dreaming about them. Like I'm still reading the book and dreaming what happens next. And what's really funny is sometimes my dreams actually predict what's in the book. Like I've read the book ahead of time, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes I get something more interesting. Oh, I wish that did happen in the book. That would have been really cool. But or I finish the book and it's just more of a continuation. So that's how I know that they're interesting. But was it surprising? Yeah, I really enjoyed that book too. I didn't know what to expect with it. I didn't know if I'd love it or hate it. I didn't know, I heard some things about this, but I'm like, no, I really like this. I really wasn't expecting the ending to it and everything, and I'm like, wow, that was really cool. I liked it. I liked it. So, favorite new author, which is number 7, debut or new to you. I actually have 2. One of them being Jennifer Saint. She's like the next Madeline Miller, in my opinion. So I've been loving Ariadne, so I'm looking forward to reading Elektra, and hopefully she continues with more. My next author is John Gwynne, because you know what? I bought the whole first series, and I was not even done with Malice. I wasn't even halfway through Malice, and I said, I need the whole series now, because I'm already loving this. I think I was only 100 pages in and said, I need them. And I ordered the rest of them. Now I have his second series and his third series that he's begun on my wish list already. So I said, I can't buy the second series until I finish the first. So those are 2 that were new to me this year. And I guess you could say, for Jennifer Saint, Ariadne was her debut. So in a way, a debut and an established author that's new to me. So 8 is newest fictional crush. I don't get crushes on people I read. I just love characters, not crushes. I'm not crushing like, ooh, I wish he was real or something, or I wish she was real, or whatever you fancy. No. If I do wish that person was real, I would wish them to be my friend. So we're skipping that one. Number 9, though, newest favorite character. I love this kid, Corbin from Malice. I adore him. He is one of the main voices. I adore him. I love him. He is just a baby in my eyes, because I'm way older. He's 14. This would be what I would raise my kid to be. Both of my boys. I want a kid like him. I do. I think I kind of do with my eldest child, and he's only 10. But, and a little bit of my youngest. I mean, they're both kind boys. A little scared to stand up to people. My eldest one, a little. But this child just makes a mama proud. So I love him. I love him as a character. He wrote a good character. I can't wait to read more of his story and just see how much he makes his mama proud. So number 10 is a book that made you cry. Now, so far, this is the one book that has really made me cry. And that is The House with Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. Lord have mercy. I cried so much at this one part. And it really did break my heart. And I really don't want to cry again. But like I said before, it broke my heart because of the realization of people that you love. That there's some things you really need to say because you don't know when something will happen to them. And so it broke my heart. It really did. But it was a really good book. I really loved it. And I can't wait to read more by Sophie Anderson. So, number 11 is book that made you happy. I have 2 books. And I know how people are going to feel about this. Pax. I think her first name is Sarah Pennypacker. Middle grade, about a fox and a boy. And it was very interesting. I really loved it. I loved how she made the fox come alive. Well, not come alive, but I mean, like, embody the character of a fox. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. It did. It made me really happy. There was some parts that, were sad. But in the end, it did. It made me smile, made me happy. I love animals. I love a good happy ending with animals. There's some things I'm just like, please, in books and TV shows and movies, I'm like, please don't kill the animal. Please let that animal live. Please, I'm careless about people. Just let that animal live, please. Then I get upset. That, you want to make me cry? You do something to that animal in a movie, and I'm gonna cry. Please don't do that. Don't make me cry. But Pax made me happy. There's actually a sequel. I can't read the sequel to Pax. So the second book I just finished, I think yesterday. It's called Ophi's Ghosts by Justina Ireland. Very interesting middle grade. Look, the 2 books that made me happy were middle grades. How do you like that? I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really, really did. Yes, it was sad, and yes, it's about white people still being mean to black people, because it's in the 1920s. It's actually set in 1922, and they've just got some freedom and everything, but something happens in the beginning, and then they have to go, but Ophi can see ghosts, and I really like this. This makes me happy, because there are people out there that can see the dead and help the dead. There are real people out there, and that makes, in a way, this book makes me happy, because that's what she learns. She has this gift, and then she's trying to learn how to help them, and she's got to be aware, because some of them are not nice, or they can turn dangerous. You know, I love it. I love getting a little bit of the history, a little historical fiction, and I love, just that aspect of somebody, the living trying to help the dead. I'm into supernatural paranormal stuff. I love it. That makes me happy. So, number 12 is the most beautiful book you've bought or received so far this year. Oh my god. And everybody has said this too. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people I have watched their Freakout tag have said this exact same book. Whether it's the UK or Fairy Loot edition or just the US edition, it's The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. Oh my god. That cover, I love it. I have it. I need to read it. Beautiful book. I can't wait to actually read it. It is gorgeous. I love both covers. I have the United States version, but that other UK Fairy Loot edition book, whatever, gorgeous. I cannot speak volumes of this. The covers for both of them, they are both gorgeous. I love it. I do. Love it. Can't wait to read it. Sounds like a good story. So last but not least, 13. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? There's actually 2 books, because I kind of switched up February. February was not a good reading month, and so I didn't get to read the 2 books that I should have. So, and they were 2 gigantic books, and I had to switch them out and randomize again. So, the first one is Schindler's List. I think that's by Jonathan Kelly or Kellaney. I'm going to have a picture over here with the author's name. Forgive me, it's getting late. And then the second book is The Push by Ashley Aldring. So those are the 2 books. We all know what Schindler's List is about. I'm just going to read the book finally. I've seen the movie, but I want to read the book. The Push, I forget what that's about. I'm sorry. But that is all I have for today. Let me know what books you've read or are going to read that I've mentioned. Or tell me, tell me what was the best book you've read so far. Could be 1, could be 2, could be many. Let me know down below in the comments. And if you like, please hit the like button if you like this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and leave me a comment if you so wish. I hope that you're staying safe and healthy. And I want to know that you are loved and you are blessed. I'll see you next time. Bye.